According to studies, people with higher IQs can spend hours doing nothing because they are absorbed in their own thoughts. What kind of thoughts, you may ask? Well, some of them are pondering the answers to some of these brain teasers. Why don't you give it a go? You can even time yourself and pause the video to see how long before you come up with the solution. At the scene of a heinous crime, 5 suspects, one of whom is the guilty party, are being interrogated by a detective. Each of the suspects gives one statement, and it later transpires that just 3 of these statements are correct. These are the statements. Uncle Jack says, Uncle Jim committed the murder. Aunt Mary says, I did not do it. Cousin Stuart says, it was not Cousin Margaret. Uncle Jim says, Uncle Jack is lying when he says I did it. And Cousin Margaret says Aunt Mary is telling the truth. Who committed the murder? Well, it was Cousin Margaret. The statements of Auntie Mary, Uncle Jim and Cousin Margaret are all true. Anderson, Billy, Bob and Carter were staying together at a place by the seaside. One day they went out in a boat and were a mile at sea when a rifle was fired on shore in their direction. It seems that Anderson only heard the report of the gun, Billy Bob only saw the smoke, and Carter merely saw the bullet strike the water near them. Which of them knew of the gunshot first? Well, the answer is Billy Bob, who saw the smoke, would be first. Carter, who saw the bullet strike the water, would be second, and Anderson just heard about the gunshot from reports. A rich and handsome man named James Leonard was murdered on a Sunday afternoon. At the time of the murder, there was the maid, the cook, the butler, the gardener and the wife. They gave the following statements. Maid says, I was fixing the table. Cook says, I was cooking breakfast. Butler said, I was polishing the silverware and the dishes. And gardener, I was planting tomato seeds. Wife says, I was reading a book. Well, who did it? The cook did it. You don't cook breakfast in the afternoon. It was the first day of school when the young girl was found dead in the classroom. Police had identified 4 suspects. The dean claimed that he was in the office the whole day. The math teacher claimed that she was giving the midterm exam results to her students. The clerk claimed that he was bringing the mails. The janitor claimed that he was cleaning the toilet on the first floor. Who was lying? The math teacher was lying. She cannot be giving the midterm exam results on the first day of the school. A lawyer argued for $1 million damages based on the following claim. His client went to an art museum where he saw a painting of Marie Antoinette on a guillotine. He fell asleep and dreamed of the painting. At the museum's closing time, a guard tapped him on the neck just as he dreamed of the guillotine beheading Marie Antoinette. The tap provoked immediate cardiac arrest because he associated the tap with the guillotine blade. The judge dismissed the case. Why? If the client died in his sleep, there would be no way of knowing what he was dreaming of. You're a junior detective investigating a case. Boys at an apartment complain that every day they have an egg spinning competition with only raw eggs, and every day one particular boy wins. The boys want you to find out how. You're observing the boy spinning an egg when suddenly it drops on the floor. The apartment clerk casually hands him a broom to clean it up, as if it happens every day. You now know why the boy always wins the daily competition. But how? The boy was cheating with a hard-boiled egg. The clerk handed the boy a broom and not a mop. A man was shot to death while in his car. There were no powder marks on his clothing, which indicated that the gunman was outside the car. However, all the windows were up and the doors locked. After a close inspection was made, the only bullet holes discovered were on the man's body. How was he murdered? The victim was in a convertible. He was shot when the top was down. After Andrew had been sick for a week, He asked his best friend Jesse to get his book out of his locker. Instead of telling Jesse the 3-number combination, Andrew said he kept a small piece of paper with the combination under his locker door. After school, Jesse went to Andrew's locker and pulled the paper. On the paper was written. Thinking this would be easy but a little tedious, Jesse entered in every arrangement of 24, 22 and 9 that was without the lock opening. Realizing there was something behind these numbers that he wasn't noticing, Jesse sat down for a few minutes to think it out. After 10 minutes of intense thinking, Jesse went to the locker, entered the combination into the lock and it opened. What was the 3-number combination? Jesse had figured out that these numbers correspond to a letter in the alphabet. 24 for X, 22 for V and 9 for I. He then writes the letters down as and group them into 3 Roman numerals that make the most sense. 28, 4, 17 would be 28, 4 and 17. How did you do it? We bet you are one hell of a genius. Don't forget to give this video a like and to subscribe to our channel for more videos that could help boost your IQ.